What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on our seed starts for the month of August. So let's jump in and I'm going to show you guys what I'm putting in my garden for August. Alright, real quick on the supply list. We have our seeds, we have our soil, and we have our pots. Well, I say pots. These seed starting strips. The cool thing about these is you can bury them in the dirt. So when it's time to actually plant them into the ground, you don't have to necessarily worry, as I throw it, about pulling the plants out, potentially killing the plant in the process. You cut a few holes in that, stick it in the dirt. I'll show you that process later when we get to that point, but let's jump in and I'll show you what I do with the soil. There's a little bit of prep I do before I put them into these strips, and then we'll add our seeds. So quick overview of our seeds. We have our broccoli, our kale, our lettuce, we've got some tomatoes, some spinach, and then when it comes to the peppers, particularly jalapeno, you can plant these later in the year, or sorry, earlier in the year, and they'll do fantastic in the summertime. But you can also get them established in the winter, so when summer rolls around, they are producing a lot. So we're gonna start our jalapenos. We've got our sweet bell peppers, cauliflower, and tomatillos, all for a perfect fall garden. Every single one of these seeds we're gonna do in starts indoors, and then when the time comes, we'll get them out in the garden, and we have some other seeds that we'll sow into the soil in a later video, probably when we take care of these. So let me get to the other side of the camera here and I'll show you what the prep process looks like. Alright, so let's move these out of the way real quick. There's a few extra supplies that I like to keep on hand. A pan, this is mostly just to put these on when we're done, make it easier to move them around. I have kids, so I need to be able to move these to a safe place and be able to move them to sunlight, because these still will need sun even though they're indoors. I have a jug of water, that'll make sense in a minute, and then I have a bowl. To make life a lot easier, I like to put the soil in the bowl, mix it with some water, and then put it in with my seed. So, I'm just going to take a spoon, open up the first bag. Now, this is the Jiffy seed starting mix from Home Depot. This was $8 a bag. Not too bad as far as price goes, perfect for seed starting. So let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. Grab a knife. And then I will just pour some of the soil in the bowl. Now this is a specific soil that has a lot of the nutrients that these new seeds are going to need, the nitrogen, the extra peat in it that will help with moisture to keep these seeds nice and moist for germination. So start with that. Let's mix some water in. That was a lot. That should be all right. But this should get our soil nice and wet. That way we can add a little water on top, but as far as watering, you'll see the peat really soaks the water in, which is perfect for new seeds. All right. That's pretty good. Let's take our Jiffy strips. Now you can do this a couple different ways. You can keep them like this, or depending on how many seeds, how many plants you're doing, for my mind, I like to break them off and separate them in the chunks based off the seeds I put in them. So to start, if I can get this apart, these are a little bit difficult, but if we can get them separated, we can start with our first set of plants. Now in my garden, right now I have 6 8x2 beds, as you guys saw from the last video. So I'm gonna have one garden box dedicated to just broccoli, and then I will do one that is also dedicated to just cauliflower. So I'm gonna do a full sleeve for each first. So let's add our soil. And then we'll get our seed put in here. Now, the bags of soil that I bought, they cover about 20 of these in total. I have 100 of these between the 2 packs. They're 25 each, or sorry, they're, yeah, 50 each. So I have 100 total. I don't think I'm gonna end up using all of them though. So, real quick, get those in. And then of course we water them after a little bit too, because new seeds, as many of you may or may not know, need plenty of moisture. So once you're done filling all of these, you should have something that looks kind of like that. Got a little extra dirt left over. Now we're gonna take our seeds. I typically add probably about 2 per thing because some seeds just don't germinate. That happens. You'll plant seeds and nothing happens with them. I'm still figuring out my beans because unfortunately that's how they are. This is not wanting to open. Wet hands also make this harder. Alright, so we have our broccoli seeds. I'm just going to place them here on the pan, make my life a little easier. And we're going to just shove those in and cover the dirt. There's 2 there, shove them in, cover the dirt. We'll repeat this process. Did I get 2 or did I get 2? There we go. And the good news is, if they both end up flowering, well then I just have 2 broccoli instead of 1 in the pot. And I can put those around other places in my garden. So, it works out. Some of these I accidentally put 3, but that was the perfect amount of seeds. So then we will, when we're all done, I will water all of these with the hose outside. But right now we're going to repeat that process with the rest of our seeds. So I'm going to cut to that part of the process when I'm all finished. And I'll walk you through how many of each I did and what the plan is for the garden. So we'll see you in just a moment. All right, welcome back. So it doesn't look like much, but we've now got all of our seeds in our beautiful little biodegradable seed starter strips. You don't have to do this. I should preface, you could use anything you have around the house. You could use old pots, you could use plastic cups as long as you add some holes for drainage. I just prefer to do this because I don't have to mess with them later. So, to walk through what I have here, we have this section right here. These 10 are our broccoli that we planted here a moment ago. We have these 10 are cauliflower. These 10, I actually have to look at the label, so I wrote on every single one of them. These are jalapenos, these 6. These are bell peppers. Up here we have some tomatillos, 4 tomatoes. We have 4 kale, and then we have some lettuce and some spinach. All of these, again, start indoors and we can sow them into the ground come September when things here in the Phoenix Valley start to cool off. Last note, we also have seeds that we need to sow outside in the soil that we don't start indoors. These you start in September when it starts to get a little bit cooler outside so they don't bake and go bad. In our September starts, and we will do a separate video on planting these, but we have some bush beans. 2 different kinds, essentially, of string beans. I also have a third kind out in my garage, but these are what we're going to use this year. And then some beetroot. So those 3 we will sow directly into the soil in September. So stay tuned for that video. But that is our seed starting for our fall garden. All right, now I'm in front of the camera again. A couple things here real quick to note is the bags of soil that I purchased, they say that they fill up to 20. Either I didn't fill them up enough, or it goes a little bit further than what the bag said, which no complaints here. I'd rather have too much than too little. So all 48, I used all but 2 of those starter strips. With that, I still have 2.5 bags of our seed starter soil. So we'll be able to use that. We can throw it out in the garden. It won't go to waste, and we can use that to help us start our outdoor seeds when we get to that point. Before we get to that, we will need to clean the garden up a little bit. As you saw from the last video, all of the plants in it are dead. So we'll need to go clean that up, return all the moisture and nutrients to that soil. So we'll go in, we'll add some nitrogen and potassium, and that will help our plants when we get them into the soil do well. So we'll do a video on that process, so stay tuned. We also have additional garden boxes coming so we can finish out the garden and have all 8 boxes there. If you liked this video, if you thought it was helpful, informational as far as what to start for the month of August, please like, subscribe, comment down below. I will respond to as many comments as I can, answer any questions that you have about gardening, point you to the right resources. Again, like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you guys in the next video. Out.